Hey, Mahmoud Memberstack here and welcome to MemberScript 189. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build an interactive Webflow quiz using the Webflow CMS like this. So when a user first lands on the quiz page, they'll be able to choose between a series of answers and the script will be able to detect which answer is correct. So if I just go through all of my questions, at the end of the quiz, the user will be able to get a quiz score depending on how well they did on the quiz, and they can go back and restart the quiz again. All right, let me show you how to set that up all inside of Webflow. In Webflow, you are going to need to add MemberScript 189 and it should look like this. If you're watching this on YouTube, the link to that code should be in the description below. And if you're watching this on the MemberStack site, then you should have already seen the code. You can either paste this in your page settings or site-wide depending on your specific use case. All right, now let me show you how to make this actually work. So first things first, you are going to need to set up your Webflow CMS with questions and answers. For questions, you are going to have the following fields. So it's going to be a question text, and then the answer options, which is going to be a multi-reference field tied to your answers. And then you select all of the answers for that question. And then what actually makes this work is now you're going to reference the correct answer for that question. And you're going to complete that same order for all of the questions. Within the answers collections, you are just going to have a bunch of answers with the custom field of answer text. And that is it for the Webflow CMS. Okay, on the page itself, you are now going to need the following attributes in order to make this work. Firstly, you're going to have a div called quiz container, and you're going to give that the attribute of data MS code quiz container, and then data randomize answers set to true in order to randomize the answers. And then this is completely optional, but you can use the MemberScript for skeleton loaders, and that is set to 3000. All right, so we're just going to start off at the very top. Firstly, you're going to have a progress bar. And for this one, you are going to have a div called quiz progress. And then within the div, you're going to add a text block and give that the attribute of data MS code quiz progress text. And then you're going to add in another div after that. And then that is going to be your quiz progress outer and give that the styling of a gray background. And then you're going to have quiz progress inner, which is now going to be the actual progress indicator, and give that a completely different color, as well as the attribute of data MS code quiz progress. And that will be it for the progress bar. The next thing you're going to do is drag in a collection list wrapper. And then within that, for the collection list, you're going to give it the attribute of data MS code quiz list. You're going to bind this collection list to your questions. Within that, you are now going to have an item, and that item is going to have the attribute of data MS code quiz item, and then you drag in a block for your question. So this is now going to have the attribute of data MS code quiz question, and you can bind this question to your question text. Okay. Within this div block for quiz question, you are now going to add another text block, which is going to be bound to your correct answer. And that's going to be given the attribute of data MS code correct answer. And you bind that to the correct answer text. All right, now within your collection list for your questions, you're going to drag in another collection list to multi-reference your answers. And that is going to have the attribute of data MS code quiz answers on the collection list. And then for the collection item, under the collection item, you're going to drag in a custom element, which is going to be bound to all of your question or all of your answer text. And that's going to have the attribute of data MS code answer option, and the tag should be set to button. What you can now style is the quiz answer and give that a completely different background as well as a border radius. That is completely up to you. Now you are going to have a button so a user can navigate through the questions. And that button is going to be quiz next button with the attribute of data MS code quiz next. Okay. The last thing we're going to do is have a hidden div with all of your quiz results. And that div is going to have the attribute of data MS code quiz results. You're going to have a heading within that. So if I just set that to display block or display flex, so you can see how that looks. You're going to have a heading within that. And then you're going to have another div for quiz points. Within that div, you are going to have quiz score with the attribute of data MS code quiz score, and then a slash sign, and then quiz total with the attribute of data MS code quiz total. And now you're going to have another div within quiz results with quiz points. Give it another text within that div with the attribute of data MS code quiz percentage, and then another text for quiz total. So you can just title this whatever you want to title it. And then within that, you'll add within quiz results, you'll add a button for a user to be able to restart the quiz with the attribute of data MS code restart quiz. With all of this set up, you now have a way to allow a user to have an interactive quiz experience. Okay, so a few things to note within this script is that we have a code embed here that essentially controls the styling or the CSS feedback states for when a user chooses a answer option, for when it's correct or when it's incorrect, or when the quiz next button is disabled. There are also certain styles within the script itself, and these are colors that you can change out. For example, when a user selects the correct answer like this, and there's a border around that, you can define the selected border color here for the correct one or the selected answer. And also the incorrect answer border, you can style that over here. Any feedback delays, the progress bar color, any message information, any informational messages. Currently, these are all of the styles that you can tweak. So it's just a matter of adding your own styles, your own colors and branding to the quiz. Okay, once you've set that all up, you now have a way for users to have an interactive quiz with the Webflow CMS. If you have any questions on this, feel free to reach out in the Slack 2.0 channel. Bye.